Hello, welcome back to How to Get an HT in Business Modeling. I'm Reza, and today we're looking at a question from Chapter 8. Question 19 says, the viewer has been conducting business on the internet for the past 2 years. He sells products that include beauty products, supplements, and household essentials. Managing the online business has proved to be extremely stressful for the viewer, so he's decided to hire people to help in managing the online business. The viewer is primarily concerned about the amount of time the employees will need to spend in managing it. During the interviews, he recorded the available time in hours per day that the sample candidates needed to manage the online business. So we get 20 observations here. Part A says calculate the average and standard deviation of time in hours provided by the yours candidates. So the first part is quite straightforward. You already learned how to use your calculator to calculate mean and standard deviation. I just show you these slides that are available on Canvas. You just need to change the calculator mode to stat 0. So you just press mode 1 0 and then you would be on a stat 0 mode. Then you enter the values one by one. So each value then enter. Then you press alpha number 4 and it would give you the mean of either population or sample. If you want to calculate standard deviation, on the same mode, stat 0 mode, if you press alpha 6, you would get a standard deviation of a population, and alpha 5, you get a standard deviation of a sample. So I've done that. I calculated mean and standard deviations. So x bar, because it's a sample, x bar is equal to 6.05 and S standard deviation of a sample 2.0125. So that part was easy, straightforward. If I go back to the question, part B says determine a 95% confidence interval for the average time in hours your candidate may spend in managing his online business. Okay, I'm looking for a confidence interval. I'm after 95% confidence interval. Okay. So when you work with confidence interval questions, you're gonna have two options. One of the formula that you can use is x bar plus minus z times sigma over square root of n. That's one option. The other option is x bar plus minus t times s over square root of n. So s is standard deviation of a sample. So which one to adopt? I need to go back and read the question carefully. It says here that you have a sample of candidates. Okay, so that's the one hint. And I look at the sample size is 20, less than 30. So I have only one option. I can only adopt this formula here, because I'm dealing with the standard deviation of a sample, not a population, and also sample size is small. So, how to solve this equation? I have x bar, I have s, I have n. I know n is 20 sample size. What about t? To get t, I need to go to the t distribution table, which is here. I'm dealing with a confidence level, therefore I'm looking at the first row and I'm looking for 95 confidence level, so that's the column I'm looking at. The other information I need to have is degrees of freedom. What is degrees of freedom? Degrees of freedom, df is n minus 1, which is 20 minus 1, which is 19. So I have degrees of freedom 19, so on this column I find value corresponding to 19. So t is 2.093. So t would be 2.093. So if I draw the distribution, it's a t distribution. So that's a 95% confidence level. This is minus 2.093. This is 2.093. So I'm after these boundaries. I want to find the x value corresponding to these two values here. Rest is easy, just need to plug the values. Plug in the values. X bar would be 6.05 plus minus T is 2.093 times S is 2.0125 over square root of 20. If you calculate this part here, that would be 0.9419. Okay, if I add 0.9419 to 6.05, I would have 6.9919, almost 7. And the lower boundary would be, if basically when I deduct 0.94 from 6.05, I would get 5.1081. Okay, so I would say that I'm 95% confident that the true population mean would lie between 5.108 and 6.99, which is almost 7. So you remember to write the interpretation. Interpretation is very important and carry mark in the exam. Okay, that's part B. Now look at part C. It says, based on the result in part B, can Deere trust that his employees will spend an average of 7 hours per day to manage the online business? 7 is basically on the border. Still acceptable. We can say yes, he can trust that on average his employees can spend 7 hours to managing the online business. However, this is quite tricky because it's on the border. If in the exam we give you a question, we won't be that much tricky. We would have a value clearly within the within the boundaries, or out of the boundaries, cannot be on the boundary. So that's the upper limit. Remember, that's the lower limit. That boundary is the lower limit. This boundary is the upper limit. Cool. So I hope you've learned the tricks of this question. Be careful when you read the question. It's important to know whether you're working with a T distribution or Z distribution. That's the most important point in this sort of questions, and selecting the right values. Okay, see you next time in another